Hi, friends. David McCrum here. My wife, Julie, and I, we've been your missionaries to South Africa for over 16 years, and I just wanted to give you an update from this past week. We're sending out a letter as well, but I spoke to several of our pastors in South Africa and also some sister churches, and I just want you to please be praying for our people there in South Africa. Um, our plans continually are being edited by this COVID, and South Africa, in just the last few weeks, the case infection rate has just skyrocketed. The government is clamping down again. Some schools closing, churches not being able to meet again. And this is a real discouraging time for our people. They were moving forward, things were happening. The church there in McCrum just opened up, had their missions conference, raised Bibles for the French immigrants, and were looking at taking on another South African missionary for a certain term. And things were like, okay, we're ready to go again. And then the infection rate is now close to 1 per 40 people, 1 out of every 40 people. Almost 1 out of every 40 confirmed. And in many of our churches, I know where you are, you're facing it in different levels, but most of our churches now having loss of life with family members, also several in ICU, some hospitals closed so because of being full. So whatever we're facing here in the States with all of our political climate and other things, if you could just receive this at face value and just please pray. I think back to 2 Corinthians chapter 1 where Paul said, I don't want you to be ignorant, brethren, about the pressures they were facing. He says, we were pressed. And these churches are being pressed as well. They do not have the infrastructure that we do, even to be able to make this video and post it to you. So they don't have access to internet and data, most of our people, where they can just go online and just get it done. And so most of our people are being in the different churches are being reduced to ministry through WhatsApp. My wife just heard Sister Corlene's ladies lesson over WhatsApp. Just listened in on that this last week. And so please pray for your missionaries. Please pray for your churches. And what does this mean for us? I talked with Pastor Miles. We've been planning these pastors' conferences and pastoral training. And he said, David, we can't. There is no group activity. We need to delay these things. And so please be praying for us. Our hearts continue to sink every time we get news like this. But pray for us. And let me give you some encouragement as well. There in the north with Pastor Stembisa Maklongu, their church has been able to recover some. They were vandalized over December. The church was, without meeting. Their church furniture was stolen. And a kids' Sunday school class in Utah gave over $700 that went to South Africa. And Pastor Staviso's first thought was, we can buy our chairs back, And the irony of buying your chairs back after they were stolen, maybe you're even getting the same ones. But they were encouraged by that. The church in McCrum, even in their poverty of losing so many people, losing jobs, having to move away, the church numbers have been reduced. They were raising money in South Africa to give Bibles to the French immigrants, in spite of the xenophobic nature that filters through to our community. They were saying, how can we take on at least one new South African missionary? And my heart was challenged by their desire that even in their affliction, they're saying, how can we still do for God's kingdom? And that was a challenge to me and to us. I want you to be encouraged that the churches are staying faithful. And Julie and I are as well. We're excited that we could not do this without your partnership. And let me encourage you, if you've been involved in missions, you've partnered with us and they're in South Africa, that these churches continue, that they are doing it, and that it is not only becoming generational now with Sabelo coming on board, now fourth generation of South African preachers, that it's generational and it's exponential, that God's church is going forward. And so though COVID is hammering South Africa, God's work goes forward. And please pray for us. Please pray for the work in South Africa, that God would strengthen, encourage, and give us wisdom for next steps and how to go forward. And I had another prayer letter written to send out, but just this last week, my heart was discouraged by this news, and I'm going to ask you just please pray for us. Pray for these churches as you would for your children. They are our spiritual children, and they need us to pray with them. And Paul said that in 2 Corinthians 1. He said, you helped us. You prayed for us, and God got us through. Would you share this with your church family? Encourage them, but really plead with the church family. Let us be praying, not just for South Africa, obviously, your other missionaries, but would you be praying for David and Julie McCrum to South Africa and other countries, but also be praying for these churches as they continue in this difficult time. And may God bless you.